zone, pick up some exhaust piping so we can make some intercooler piping. We quit on it last night because we were trying to figure out what to do with the intercooler piping and to make a decision on whether or not to use the whole set. So we decided on making intercooler piping versus putting the whole set on. So we're gonna go get some exhaust piping. We're gonna have to run the piping off the turbo out to the passenger side, down, and then back underneath the support that runs like vertically. So it's gonna be really close to the ground, unfortunately, but it's our only option really at this point. There we go. Oh, great. Alright, so we're back. We got some exhaust piping we're gonna turn into some intercooler piping. We have to get the welder out and do some pie cuts and do a lot of cutting and welding and shit to make it all work. But so basically it's gonna come off the turbo. It's gonna have to come off like a T25 and then down and then under the support beam here, and then connect back into the piping or something over here. We're probably just gonna run straight all the way across to the intercooler with the exhaust piping, so that way I don't, because like this is just a temporary thing, so I don't want to completely hack together my fucking piping that I have now. It's just gonna suck because it's gonna bottom out all the time. It's gonna be by far the lowest point in the car, the intercooler piping, so it's gonna be shitty, but it's just temporary. Alright, so got the intercooler pipe done. It's cobbled together with a couple different pieces of piping, but turned out pretty good. I think it's gonna work. It's just the shitty thing is it's gonna be so close to the road, so we're gonna have to like dent the shit out of it to get some clearance, and there's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to get this car in the garage, in my garage, with this on. But we'll get the 16G back from Justin Witzel at some point and go back to all my old shit and never fucking look back. Alright, so we're done. Getting ready to go home. But we just want to go over all the bullshit that happened, because like a lot of shit happened and we didn't record a lot of it. So where do we start, Kurt? Okay, first I guess intercooler piping. I showed you guys that earlier, but it was a bitch because this compressor housing is like a T25, so that's got the elbow that goes out towards the passenger side, which would be fine if I had like a Ready front mount intercooler or something to where both inlet and outlet were on the same side. But because I got a VRSF, it's got to go all the way from this side all the way underneath that lower support beam and then back up to the turbo. So that's the lowest part of the car now, and it's gonna scrape. It's gonna scrape a lot. So that was.
But it's only temporary.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest problems. This O2 housing was probably the next biggest pain in the ass. I'm shocked that it seals up to this side.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna seal up to that side, but it seals. From what we can tell, it seals up to the hot side. We had to use some like really tiny fucking bolts on the two because like there's just no room to get a bolt head or anything because it hits the fucking actual two housing. So and then the fucking downpipe flange, that is leaking like a lot because it's just not, it's not flat.
It's warped, yeah.
It's like where the bolts are, it's flush, like it's tight, but in the middle you can literally see a gap basically, like around here in the middle. So that was a hurdle. We decided to not put the coolant lines on so that there's no coolant running to this turbo because
in the way of the oil line.
Yeah, it was like where the return line fitting was, like it was right against it. This manifold, I don't know what the difference is, if it's the manifold's shorter and just brings everything closer, but like something is different and it like nothing lines up. So we just opted to not run any coolant lines just because it was one less pain in the ass thing. Like we probably could have got the water line on the front, but it would have been very, 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 very hard, and we had to deal with so many other things.
The wideband sensor.
Yeah, so the idiot that built this O2 housing, the bung wasn't even like centered with the fucking hole that was drilled, so we had to ream the fucking hole out just to get the wideband O2 sensor in there, and then the threads were fucked up. So we had to try like 3 different fucking O2 sensors in order to get something to bite down. Oh, and this, we were gonna run the external wastegate, but in order to run it down, like it would have been, like all my wiring down there would have been on fire in minutes. And then in order to turn it upside down, like I had it on Ivy, I'd have to cut a hole in the roof, or in the hood. So we didn't want to dick with that, so we just took it back off, put the block off plate on, which leaked without a gasket. We had to put a gasket on it, and now it should be okay. And then we went and put the internal wastegate back on, which is not a big deal. It's just probably gonna be like even more laggy than it probably would have been. They really don't sound that bad, but this shit was horrible. What else, man? Because there was like, that's like not even half of the problems.
The oil feed line went on smooth.
Yeah, that went on. It's extremely long.
There's something else that went on pretty nice too.
The wastegate, we kind of got lucky with the actuator.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, I thought the actuator was gonna rub. There's not a lot
of
clearance.
There's
there.
like hardly any clearance between the turbo and the wastegate actuator on.
We tested it and it opens.
Yeah, we put some air to it, make sure that it opens and closes fine without hitting anything. We had actually, we had to clock the turbo, like clock it.
Because the compressor housing, because the outlet went right into the motor mount.
Yep. So
we'll stop there. This was definitely the worst turbo install I've ever had to do.
We had to put the turbo on. We had to put the return line on the turbo before we put the turbo on.
Yeah, like at the same time.
Yep. I don't know what else. I think that's the exhaust. Only one half of the hanger on the front, like in the center of the car. We had to take the exhaust hangers off. Oh, that's the other thing, the exhaust. So the exhaust, because this O2 housing is so fucked up, it's not even at the right angle. So we had to like take the exhaust hanger off and then twist the shit out of the exhaust and then put it on the O2 housing. And then when we were done, we couldn't put the exhaust back on the hangers. The one side we could, but it's not sitting right. It's really low. So that actually might almost be lower than the fucking intercore pipe.
I don't think so.
Probably not, but I'm gonna try and put it in the garage just for shits. But it's gonna rub. Like it's gonna be bad. Oh fuck. Yeah. Is that just?
There was a clamp.
Yeah.
There.
So we have to get a clamp for that real quick.
What happened to it?
Which you have plenty of clamps laying around.
Oh,
so.
there it is underneath your linkage.
Oh, great. Good spot for it.
That's a great spot for it. Okay, so we'll button that up quick.
We seriously almost put the whole set on, and I kind of in a way, like if we would have woke up today and just went and got the oil pan and came back and banged the fucking oil pan off real quick,
you'd already be done.
This would have been so much easier. But I was really curious about this turbo because this is a junk ass eBay turbo that like you can't even sell it. Like you can buy them for new on eBay for like $200 or $300. So like it's new technically. It's never been ran, but it's been sitting for literally probably 15 years. So it's like you can't sell it. You have to give it away. But I was curious because the 10 centimeter turbine housing, like, it could work well for a front wheel drive car. So like that was the biggest thing I was curious about.
Yeah, if you had a decent O2 housing and modified the compressor outlet, it wouldn't be so bad. Other than that, I mean,
yeah, if we could,
it fit pretty good. Like there's in the casting and everything, it's already clearance for the block and the water pipe and everything. It really wouldn't be that bad if that outlet wasn't there.
Yeah.
And we had a
so
O2 housing that was worth a fuck.
if we could weld aluminum, we would have just chopped this piece off and then welded a straight piece on it, like the 16G that we just took off, and welded a straight piece on it, and then like the intercore piping like would have been exactly the same. And it would have only taken like literally 5 minutes to chop that off and then just weld the fucking straight piece on there. And then we went ahead to literally make intercore piping, which turned out like this. When we were in the, like, balls deep in this shit, I thought for sure like it was gonna look like this whole thing from the valve cover forward was gonna look like some cobbled together fucking hacked shit. But like this actually looks pretty clean. I'm really surprised, but it's just all the modifications you gotta do to get this turbo on. And even if the intercore piping wasn't a problem, you can't. I would imagine you probably can't buy a fucking O2 housing for them turbos anymore. And if you can, you're probably gonna run into. They're not gonna be perfect because, you know, they're cheap as fuck. They're like, you know, that's why you get what you pay for, kind of thing. Like, you can buy a really nice O2 housing, and everything be perfectly fine, like literally build up like factory, but nobody makes them for a fucking eBay shit. So like, it's not like somebody's gonna take the time to make a $300 O2 housing for a fucking $25 turbo.
Yeah, even like, as far as eBay placement shit goes, like stock placement, DSM flange manifolds that you can buy, those cheap headers.
Yeah.
With all stock exhaust parts, they don't line up.
Right.
Because it just throws everything off. Like, people don't account for that shit when they're building parts, and that's why you buy good quality parts, because they actually account for all that. Like, you know, make sure everything lines up right. I hate when I, you know, go to bolt something up that's like supposed to be factory and it doesn't line up because something else isn't.
And it's just because of the brand, like who made it. That's what it comes down to. Is, you know, people complain about parts being so expensive, but that's why they're expensive, just because somebody, you know,
took the time to do it right.
Yeah, it's. But I don't know. We all know that, and like I'm not surprised. Like I didn't expect this to go perfectly, but just the amount of bullshit. And if I would have noticed or realized or just took the time to look at the turbo, like holding the turbo in front of the car, I doubt I would have even attempted this because of that fucking how the intercooler piping had to be. Like,
can you imagine with that adapter plate, it would have dropped the turbo down another half.
Yeah, it would have been even worse. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use a fucking adapter plate to run a DSM manifold. But luckily, like, I had a T3 manifold, so this would have been even worse. Like, that shit's thick. And all the reading that I did about that, that's not really it's not supposed to be an adapter plate. You know what that's supposed to be?
What?
It's supposed to be the gasket.
What the
because they recommend that you put a thin layer of RTV on that to get it to seal. They basically consider that the gasket.
It's a thick ass gasket.
I know. Obviously, it's an adapter plate too, but like, I don't know. I did so much reading about this turbo, and that's like, I really wish we just from the very beginning went and decided to put the whole set on, because this would have went so much smoother. But
I mean, even that has its.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been perfect.
Like problems, you know.
The exhaust probably would have been the biggest one.
The exhaust would have came out the bumper.
Because that was for 1G. So, like, obviously, it's the same exact engine that was in my 1G. So the placement of the engine is going to be the same. It's just a matter of where it exited under the car and out the bumper and shit, which probably would have been fine, honestly.
Oh yeah.
And then other than that, but like, the biggest thing is we didn't want to take the oil pan off and taking them off isn't too bad, but
Getting them to seal when you put them back on is
when you're doing it laying underneath the car, you know.
the oil from up inside the engine just keeps coming down,
Yeah.
seeping down. It's like you're fighting a losing battle most of the time.
Yep, my biggest problem that I always have is the bolts. I either snap them or like I can never get them in straight. Like it looks perfectly straight, but like every single bolt I gotta fuck with and fuck with and fuck with it to get it to go in. Cause I'm
pretty sure 90% of the oil pans I've tried to seal like on an engine that was in the car, looking up at it with RTV, just it doesn't work good.
And it's a pain in the ass to scrape the old shit off, especially by the rear main seal.
Get all the oil out of the bolt holes and all the RTV out of the bolt holes. And
I don't know, but it's fucking done. I haven't driven it yet, and I feel like every video that I do something big, I'm always like, all right, it's done. Now I gotta go to work. Now I gotta like go on this big drive, no testing, and
I
just
gotta drive 40 minutes home.
Yeah, so I don't know. This should be fine. I brought the in-cabin boost controller that I took out of Ivy, but I didn't put it in yet. Because like even that's going to be... It's not like Ivy where there's like no interior, so... I don't know where it's going to go into the car. I don't know where it's going to mount inside. Like it's... So for now, I'm just going to run wastegate pressure until I put the boost controller in. If that even lasts that long. Fuck, I might not even make it home. I don't know.
You know what didn't fight us today? That bumper.
Yeah,
that
so
went on nice.
Bumper, oh my god, on and off like nothing.
I'm gonna begin.
Dude, I can't believe it took me...
Every DSM here is gonna have one thing.
I can't believe it took me 15 years to install a quick release fucking front bumper. Because like it's... Every single DSM now, I feel like it's absolute necessity. Like that's first mod I do on any car now, because it just makes things so easy. Like with your car,
how many times have I had to take my bumper off of Sapphire?
Yeah, and it's like a cocksucker, dude.
Yeah, because I have like nuts and bolts on the one side because the factory holes had broken studs in them. So
yeah, that was a really...
Just a pain in the ass.
Oh my god! I highly, highly, highly recommend doing that.
That's on there pretty good.
Yeah, I see. Like, that was the biggest thing that deterred me from doing it, because like I just assumed it wasn't going to sit very good.
Yeah, like you would think.
You think you would lose fitment from gaining the quick release thing, but
like I said before, the only thing that I would do is add another here towards the front.
Which honestly, I don't even think I am.
No.
Nope. I don't like, because it's really not. It's not bad. Like I'm guessing most cars probably wouldn't sit that good if I,
No, I mean like there's no huge gap on the headlights. Like.
No, that's a little bit, but on both sides, but it's even.
Yeah, but it's not huge, like.
And yeah, it's barely.
My car.
That sits better than most DSMs with all the bolts in.
Look at mine; it sags underneath the driver's side, real bad. And that has 2 bolts on that side actually.
Yep. It's either like
as soon as you put a front mount on these things, it's just over.
I've always used my fucking zip ties, so like. It hasn't been a huge problem for me, but I haven't done it in this car because I didn't want to drill holes in the fenders and shit.
Having that reinforcement there helps too.
Yeah,
that's big time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the first DSM I've had with actual bumper support.
Yeah.
And a front mount at the same time, and that's everything.
Yeah, like that thing's solid.
It helps so much. I bet you that's the only reason why this fucking bumper sits so good.
Yeah, it doesn't sag.
I guarantee it. But I don't know. We got it on. We got together. We've had idling and shit. We got the coolant topped off and burped out. No oil leaks. Just that big ass fucking exhaust leak from the downpipe. which I'm just gonna have to live with. I hate exhaust leaks because they just sound so shitty, dude. I hate having an exhaust leak, but that's one thing I really liked about this car is I never had any fucking exhaust leaks ever. I love that exhaust.
Yeah, it's a nice piece. I was looking at it on there. It is nice.
Yeah, I don't know what brand, like you said, but... So, hopefully, this is the end of the video. And hopefully you don't see me in another clip after this on the side of the road.
Hopefully.
I got AAA, so at that point, I think I just fucking... What we were talking about, what we're worried about is this fucking coupler off the turbo blowing.
Yeah, but since we took it off and put it back on,
yeah, we got.
I feel a lot more
I don't think it's gonna come off.
No,
honestly.
I feel way more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Than before.
I think it'll be fine, and it's just wastegate pressure, so I can't really beat on it too much. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna fucking give her. I'm gonna put it right to her. Give her the sauce.
We need to find something for that.
For what?
Wastegate.
Yeah. Well, I got the shit when I get home.
Oh, all right.
If it pops off,
stick it back on. Fuck it.
well, or just don't do nothing.
Just drive it.
Yeah, like what's the word? I just won't build any boost. Like, big deal. Just to get home.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it. Honestly, it probably will come off. I don't know.
I mean, when we put air to it, I actuated it like 20 times. It didn't.
So what we're talking about, this clip, like they use this like C clip on these. Obviously, like all the MHI shit, they got a hole, and you just put a cotter key through. But all the eBay shit has like this fucking thing, this little lip or whatever. You just use a C clip, which I actually like better.
Yeah, I'm not like Sam's car. The cotter pin broke off inside, and it's rusted in there, and your only option is to drill it out. So
that's
with a tiny ass drill bit, you're gonna snap 30 times.
So that's like the only thing that.
That's actually, I like that design better.
Right. It's just cleaner too. Like,
yeah.
You know, you don't even know it's there really.
You don't have to worry about it rusting off and breaking in there and shit. Yep.
So, I guess I'm gonna get out Kurt's hair. He's been a trooper right here with me because I was gonna do this at home Friday night by myself.
Ain't no way.
So.
Ain't no way.
But that's why he's my best fucking friend though. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go drink beer and play Halo now.
I'm gonna hopefully make it home. I guess that's. So I'm just gonna hopefully make it home. That's as far as my plans go tonight. Cause it's a big feat, I think.
Well, if you break down, bro, you know you can always call AAA.
That's right.
Don't call me.
All right, guys. I don't know how this video is gonna turn out. There's a lot of shit we gotta go through. It's gonna take forever to fucking go through all this with three cameras.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of pictures. It's gonna be cocksucker to fucking upload all it, like to transfer this shit.
I only got one video, so we're good.
So, most likely, I'm gonna have to put all this shit together. One of us is gonna have to put it all together, and one of us is gonna have to send all of our shit to the other person.
Yeah, Morty's laptop don't last long enough to put it together.
Yeah, so we'll just upload it to OneDrive or something.
Yeah.
Alright guys, I'm gonna go home. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Peace.